What's up, everybody? Jeffrey Lyles. You're listening to Lyles Movie Files. We've got a lot to talk about, so let's say what's up to the fellas. What's up, little brother?
How you doing, bro?
Cooling. Gunner, how are you, man?
What's good? Everything's good. How about you guys?
I won't complain. Let's see what happens as we go on with this show. I have a sneaky suspicion I will with some things. Let's start right off the bat. WandaVision. Kevin Feige said, don't look for season two. Maybe this is because Wanda is going to be showing up in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and he doesn't want to spoil what's going to happen, or we're going to see something else. Do you want to see a second season of WandaVision, or do you think one season's enough? Jace.
I want it to be one season. I think this is a nice bridge between the movies and the TV universe for that lull we're in right now to move it to the next phase after Iron Man and Captain America to get us to those next round of heroes that the next round of kids are going to be like, yo, I love these guys. Like, I want to see Shang-Chi. I want to see the Eternals. I want to see the next round of Avengers. And having to go back to another season of WandaVision and kind of recap, like, nah, just give me great season. You have one good season of storytelling, and we'll be talking about this for, years to come of how it set the Marvel Universe on its current path. So I want one season and make it good, like it's been.
Gunner, what do you think?
I don't know how you make more than one season of this. I mean, it's obviously leading up to something. The entire arc. Here's the thing: it's like it didn't start with this season, so why would it finish with another season? Why would we need another show? You know what I mean? I feel like the purpose of this show is, and I'm not saying replace the movie or anything like that, replace a movie or anything like that. It's just seems like the purpose of the show is to move the story along. So why do I need another season of WandaVision to move the story along? It's something called continuity that I get, you know what I mean? And this might just be because of being a comic book reader. You have your limited series that kind of just moved a story about one person along or something like that, right? So, or a character, or a couple characters, or a group, or whatever the team is. Like, I get it. It makes sense to me. I don't know if it would make sense to, the average TV watcher, but the way Marvel's doing this is as if we were comic book readers, right? You're going to have different media, and instead of using one medium, we're using several different media, different ways of presenting it. So you got a TV show that moves the movie along, that gives you the plot for the movie. Eventually there'll be a video game. You know what I mean? Something like that. So I don't know. One season's fine, and I understand why it needs to be that way. I really don't understand why if somebody wanted a season 2, I don't understand that thinking there.
For me, I don't even understand what a second season of WandaVision would look like. Part of the fun of this has been how they go through these different eras of TV. And that's been real part of the backbone of what's made the show so fun. And if they were just to do a second season, it would be more of a, hey, here's Wanda and Vision as Avengers fighting against some bad guy. Not necessarily a bad idea, but I think WandaVision's original concept really shook things up in terms of what's possible in the MCU, in these Disney Plus TV shows. And hey, it's wide open. There's no need to follow into the script. We're going to see that with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And we're going to see it again with Hawkeye. I don't think there's any reason to do that with WandaVision, who should, assuming Vision survives, will be the two of the foundational blocks of the next Avengers team.
Right.
So yeah. All right. We always talk about something with Zack Snyder's Justice League, and there's always a lot of stuff. There's apparently going to be a mind-blowing surprise cameo. It's been revealed on some sources, some pages. I'm not clicking. It's only 2 more real weeks before we get it. I'm going to wait to watch it all 4 hours at once and just consume it, and then hope that the surprise cameo delivers. One thing that I did think was interesting was Snyder wanted originally to explore romance between Bruce Wayne and Lois Lane. Warner Brothers said no. When I initially read that, I was like, oh gosh, that just sounds stupid to just shake things up just to do it. Then I remembered back when we had our very first Batman and Superman interaction in the cartoons, they were kind of setting that up. And I was like, that was kind of cool. So there is a precedent for it, and it's not the terrible idea that I initially thought. What do you guys think about that? Jace?
Again, I'm going to go back with Justice League Unlimited. Like I said, they set that up kind of good, and I wonder if Warner Brothers vetoed it because they had that mess where Superman and Wonder Woman were in the comics together, which I thought was crap. I mean, you basically had to throw out Lois Lane to make that work, and it was complete garbage. And maybe they felt like, oh yeah, we might keep this around, and we're going to see how long we can milk this and make this a thing. But I don't. I mean, because you can see like he kind of lays like the kind of flirtation in Dawn of Justice, and it's like, hey, she's been kind of living high society for the last 100 years, and she can shake Bruce Wayne up for a little bit, like maybe 2 movies, and then you could go to the next thing. I mean, especially because we're not gonna have Bruce Wayne hooking up with a bunch of random ladies. There's no Catwoman running around for him to mess with, so that could have worked. I mean, to give him something other than, complaining about, worrying about trying to kill Joker because he killed Robin. So.
Yeah. Connor, what do you think, man?
I don't know. Well, I see the Justice, in the cartoon, but we all knew that, like, it was even like, you can tell, like, that was only going to happen for that cartoon. You know what I mean? He's only here for maybe 2 episodes, right? So you knew that wasn't going to last. You know what I mean? So it just depends on how long. It's a plot trick, real quick. Like, oh yeah, of course he's going to go for him real quick. Whoop, oh well, and then take care of her, all that crap, right? So whatever. You know what I mean? So and then he goes away. He goes back to Gotham City, which sometimes is across the bridge and sometimes it's far away. Never could tell in Justice League or Justice League Unlimited. So there's one little thing. So it's like they could have had a long distance relationship, but we didn't know what that distance was, and it was convenient what it was. But again, it was only going to last for 2 episodes, so we already knew that. How long was Warner Brothers, this version of Warner Brothers, trying to plan out that one? Like, that seemed weird, especially when they were already kind of hinting, like Jason said, hinting at Batman and Wonder Woman, which is what also happened in Justice League. Justice League Unlimited, you know what I mean? Which kind of made more fun sense, right? So, why would you take away Lois? I mean, if Lois is the key, then why would you even tempt fate there? Like, that's just weird. It's just weird. Like, they don't know it just proves that sometimes they don't know what the hell they're doing.
At all.
On the movie side.
So here is Vanity Fair interviewed Zack Snyder for, advance of the Snyder Cut coming to HBO Max. And he broke down exactly how this whole transition between him and Joss Whedon came to pass. Really interesting. When they initially mentioned Joss Whedon, Jeff Johns, who was working with Whedon on a Batgirl movie, was like, hey, why don't we have Joss Whedon work on some reshoots? Snyder was not really working, of course, because he was dealing with his daughter's suicide. And he was like, okay, I thought maybe he could write some cool scenes. I thought that would be fun, Snyder said. Suddenly, Whedon wasn't just offering script pages and advice during the reshoots, but stepping behind the camera himself. Snyder had only one conversation with Whedon and walked away from Justice League upon realizing that this was not the fight he wanted after his daughter's death. So, and even when Snyder was shooting, Warner Brothers chairman Kevin Tujahari, who's since gone off because of a sex scandal, had Johns and producer John Berg show up on set every day to keep an eye on things. Berg tells writer Vanity Fair it was his job to mediate between a creator whose vision is instinctively dark and a studio that perceived, right or wrong, that the fans wanted something lighter. Again, Snyder wasn't overly bothered by them being there to babysit. It didn't bother me too much because they weren't that threatening. I just felt the ideas that it did have, where they were trying to inject humor and stuff like that, it wasn't anything that was too outrageous. And so then, when he decided to step away, one anonymous studio exec admitted that they were all left reeling by what Whedon delivered. When we got to see what Josh actually did, it was stupefying. The robber on the rooftop, so goofy and awful. The Russian family, so useless and pointless, which I say all the time. Everyone knew it. It was so awkward because nobody wanted to admit what a piece of it was. So,
Wow.
Anonymous staffer doesn't mean anything, but whoo, that is a scathing take on Whedon's film. And like I told you guys probably a couple of shows ago, it's like watching Man of Steel, watching Batman versus Superman, and even watching Suicide Squad with its many problems, then going to Justice League, it feels like something is drastically wrong. And that scene open up with where Batman's just like, "Hey, come on, get this guy," and then the guy just randomly asks, "It's because they know he's gone, right?" It's like, that seems really odd and weird. Of course, some of that scene is going to be there, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." But that Russian family, I thought was trash. That was stupid. Gosh, I mean, it's stupid. And I think what happened, I was doing a long watch of the Avenger films, and that stupid kid with his dumb dog that Pietro couldn't save all at once and managed to get shot despite being a speedster. Anyhow,
Yeah.
yeah. So I cannot wait to see this Whedon cut because I just want to see how much. I did say Whedon cut. Gosh, I already saw the Whedon cut, and it was cut.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to see the Snyder cut just to see how much an improvement this is going to be. Or if it's just like, well, hey, man, he tried his best to do what he could do, and he just couldn't get it done. But I don't think that's going to be the case. Fellas, what do you think about this Vanity Fair report?
Sounds accurate. I mean, almost it's like, as I say, I was optimistic because I thought, hey, you guys are going to try and change it tonally. I did not like the fact they killed Superman in his second movie. But I was like, okay, like we saw how Wonder Woman was, like that was because Wonder Woman was well received. So it's like maybe we need to kind of do something different. Like hers wasn't all dark and gloomy, but there was a middle ground that film did not achieve, or at least a transition. I mean, as you are so fond of saying, I can't even feel my toes. It's just like stuff like that was just like really like, and some bug spray for the Russian family, like it's just like there was a better medium to get to that what we thought was a way to go. Like there was a way to get from Dawn of Justice to Shazam or Aquaman, and it just didn't get there. It was just, hey, it's over. We're fine, right? All right, take care. And it's not. I'm actually kind of wondering though. Is once I'm finished watching the movie, I'm gonna be like, Warner Brothers, can you send me a copy of the 4-hour-long movie so I can toss the originals, the theatrical release? Because that would be the thing I want to have. I'm already a subscriber, so you already got my money. So just ship that my way. We'll be good.
I am pretty sure that they have already said that it's going to have a home video release that you can buy separately to put on your shelf. Yeah. So stay tuned. Gunner?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, HBO Max been doing that, or HBO in general, because you can get Watchmen and probably Lovecraft Country, which I will be purchasing and putting on my shelf anyway because I like to collect things like that. I'm weird. I don't care. Also, in case they decide to jack up the price to $200, then I'll be like, oh well, nope. But at least I got my Blu-rays of these 2 shows that I liked. Anyway,
you can get Lovecraft
Country, The Wire and The Sopranos and everything else I have on the shelf right now. Anyway, so yeah. But no, back to the subject, man. I mean, none of this is surprising to me. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, nobody in the house could have ever thought this was a good idea. You know what I mean? They were like, okay, we like the tone, like the changing, and then when they finally, I'm sure they did like the private screening and like theater and Warner Brothers Studio for the employees or whatever. And I'm sure the theater was just as quiet as when we watched it and when we were watching it screening. Although, Jace, was it me and you with our necks all the way up in the theater?
Oh
was
yeah,
this the movie?
That was
this the one?
3D
that was
viewing.
the first time we saw it. I was like, oh, God. My neck hurts, and this movie is not as great as it could have been. Yeah. I was happy with the new tone, but it was just something was missing. And if you recall, I was like, it's fine. Like, you know what I mean? That's all I could say about it. It was fine. But
I think what it is that with that movie, the chemistry of the Justice League, which we wanted to see, was really good. No matter who was directing, those actors working against each other was like, yeah, give me more of this. And their fight scenes together looked good. And it was, yeah, these guys working as a team. Superman came in at the end like Superman, beat the mess out of Steppenwolf, finally looked like the Superman we always want to see in cartoons and everything, where he is not a punk. He's just laying it down like the ultimate cheat code. And he can do other things. He can go help save children and families and all this stuff, and then come back and save the day, right?
Nope.
But, and there were cool elements to it, like that initial fight scene where they did the Lord of the Rings kind of homage, where everybody comes together. We see a Green Lantern and Zeus and the old gods, and it's like, oh man, this is a good movie. The Amazons fighting. It is just that stuff kind of in between getting there that's not, they kind of colored it. And I'm not gonna lie, I really liked the movie when I first saw it, but it's definitely a case of a film where I watch it more and I'm like, it does have some problems. I like it, still watch it, but it does have problems.
Do you think that like the parts that we actually say we like are actually the Snyder cut? Like,
probably. That's what we need to see.
Right.
It's Snyder. I mean, that's like the initial Amazon Shazam fight looks like a Zack Snyder.
Right.
And then it's like some of the other action scenes, like, and I'm like, Joss Whedon could, like the one where Superman's coming back. That's Joss Whedon. That's a good scene. But there also is, and if that's not, I'm even gonna be like, really, what did Joss Whedon actually do that was productive on this film? But I mean, it's like, I'm just like, we're gonna in a couple of weeks, we're gonna all dissect it and like, was there anything truly worth keeping after this? After the Snyder cut.
I hope Superman beating down the League makes the cut. I hope that's part of what Snyder did.
What's that? Superman what?
Superman beat down the Justice League.
That was fine, but I'm pretty sure that was a Snyder cut. I'm pretty sure that I think we, for the show especially, we should tally up. Like, okay, we should match 1-to-1. Okay, that was all of our, if all of our favorite parts were actual Snyder cut. Like, literally count. I mean, we're gonna be doing that, but like definitely for the show, we should totally count them. I'm like, yep, okay. And that's all of them. I'm positive we're gonna end up with all of them, except for maybe like that end scene where with the animated, I don't know, that weird CGI uniform that Superman was wearing, which I'm almost positive. And I thought about this then, believe it or not. I felt like that was like, why is that cartoony? Were they covering up the black uniform? I don't know. You know what I mean? That's what it felt like, right? Like, I don't know. To me, I was like, they're covering up something, because why is that animated? There's no need for that to be animated. Anyway.
Well, again, I'm pretty sure we can all safely say one of our favorite scenes is not going to be Superman with a mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just take that.
Hey, I'll say this. I didn't mind that opening because when he goes, well, if it's for the media, that felt very on brand for Superman. I love that part. Did not like the face with the weird mouth deal, but I
Again,
did like.
they tried to. I mean, I'll give this. He tried to humanize Superman, which Zack Snyder did not. He literally made him like a god above men. Just like, oh, I'll help you guys when it's of my interest to help Lois. But I really don't. I really could sit on the sideline for years. I mean, he very
Not
much.
true. He wasn't
No.
terrible. He was doing stuff.
Again, like on a very small level. This dude, before that point, he was literally Supergirl. Like, yeah, okay, I guess my sister's coming down from the flight. I guess I'll do that.
Wait. Even in the opening of Man of Steel, when he isn't even Superman, he's going around helping people doing stuff.
It's on a small scale, but he was basically he was basically the TV show Supergirl, who was just like, I'll do some stuff here and there. Oh, I'm not allowed to. Gotta be careful.
Again, I'm like, he was almost like what Wonder Woman said she was. She's been gone for 100 years, and then if she hears something, she's not very proactive. I mean, he was a little more proactive because it's like, oh, these guys on a tanker, I hear they're, they need some help. I'll go help them because I'm on a fishing boat. Then I hear it. But
right.
And in fairness, it didn't seem like he understood the extent of his powers until he had that conversation with Jor-El. And that's when he started flying, which would open up a whole new realm of, I can help so many more people.
Fly. He should have been able to fly even then. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this was, I don't know. It just, I just didn't like how that's the one thing about Man of Steel that both me and my dad did not like. Like, we watched it together. And, like, in the theater, like, when it came out, and we were both like, huh. Like, and the reaction was that was different. I was like, well, yeah, because they changed, like, his arc. Like, he was Superboy. He saved Lois in a tornado, or Lana in a tornado. There was a little things that I would hope would be hinted at as a child. And, of course not. Why would they do that? Like, we got to remake everything. We got to make half the, 45 minutes in Krypton. Jesus. So, yeah, there were things that I was like, I did not. I'm like, Young, when we get into Superman, this is a little, like, it was slightly too long. Slightly. Not by much, but it was slightly too long. I'm like, I don't need to see a whole hero joint of, what's his name, Russell Crowe, swimming in the pool and all this crap, man. I don't need to see all that.
I liked all of that until basically they killed off my boy Jor-El. And then they were just like, well, what's happening? Oh, shoot, Jor-El was right. And then, man, I wish I remember her name. She was so good.
Laura.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I know her name is Laura, but I think it's Ayelet Zuret.
Yeah.
There still is that problem with Jor-El beating hand-to-hand in a fight General Zod, who's been trained to do nothing but fight. That was
big armor suits.
He's supposed to know how to use that armor suit. That's what he lives in.
Right. One's a scientist and one's an armor suit. The Codex said you could fight, and the Codex said you can't fight. So, see what I'm saying? The whole thing is screwed up, man.
Yeah, I would say like the movie, but that scene was like, all right, guys, come on, like,
He was
like, blow up the planet already.
Adrenaline going. He had to get his son out of it.
I was ready for the planet to blow up. Like, at least 15 minutes earlier. I was like, yo, when Krypton gonna blow up?
Wow.
Like, because this is ridiculous.
No, but here's the other thing is, if you know you can rip the handle off a bus, I'm thinking you're going to experiment on a little bit on your powers. Like, that kind of, like,
his parents made him terrified of using his powers.
I'm sorry. What teenager listens to their parents?
You know what? We're talking about Man of Steel.
Like I said, this one's weird. Let's talk
about Superman on another front, because this week we saw the premiere of Superman and Lois on the CW. This is the first big new show for the CW verse, no longer the Arrowverse. since Arrow shut down and canceled, we know Black Lightning, that show that they never seem to talk about, and Supergirl are also ending this year. So they need new shows to keep things rolling. And it seems like the overwhelming initial response was Superman and Lois got the job done. I thought the show showed a lot of potential. I had some issues. I will discuss those in a moment, but I wanted to hear what you guys had to say first. Jace, as our resident Superman aficionado, I will let you take it.
I really enjoyed the show. I like how the teenagers weren't completely whiny, over the top teenagers. Like the guy who had an emotional issue was like, he at least was playing video games. He was like, I got my issues, but I'm not like completely off the rails, annoying character.
Right. Like they do usually. They're like, oh, you're on Zoloft or whatever. That means you got to act real crazy, okay? So it feels like they tell other actors to do that. I'm with you on Jason. I'm sorry. I'm with you on that one. I just laugh at the fact that other shows don't know how to do that.
Yeah, it's like, because it's like, we understand we need to make the story about the family, which I actually, I mean, again, I like, this is one of like the things I really liked about the comic book Rebirth. It was like, hey, Superman, you guys say Superman's boring, so give him a new dynamic as a father. And I won't critique. Jeff has some issues on that. Because you can read some of those on LowsMovieFile.com.
I'm going to tell you some of them now too, but go for it.
But I said this. I like the new suit. I like the fact they put the old Kingdom Come suit on him, which I thought was really good. And he's like, he's like, hey, my mom made it for me.
That was like the old.
Oh yeah, okay, so he did.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, at first I thought it was Kingdom Come too. Then he came closer, and I'm like, oh, that's from like the Action Comics back in the day joints.
Okay, so the fact that he already had on 3 suits more than Smallville, it was a great improvement.
Nice, cool.
Yeah. So and it's like, I mean, Tyler and Elizabeth
Tulloch.
I mean, like, they're really good in the roles. Like I said that when they were on Supergirl, I was like, oh yeah, you're good. I have no issues with you guys going forward and doing these roles, and I think they did a very good job. I like we have a background villain. We don't have him thrown in our face as soon as the season starts, so we're not overexposed. We're not Batwomaning this thing. For anyone who's seen Batwoman, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about there, where you can't get rid of the bad guy for more than 5 minutes on the show. What else? Yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. I liked, I kind of like how the powers of the twins are going to be set up, and I'm intrigued. I mean, I'm intrigued to see where it goes. So I liked it.
Gunnar, what do you think?
I liked it. I like where they're going with it. I worry a little bit, and I think we talked about this a little bit. I worry how far this can be taken without being annoying, right? Like, at some point, the teenage arc is going to get annoying, because it usually does. As evident on Black Lightning, or how far are they going to take or will CW and it'll be 24 episodes and 15 of them will be very boring and don't move the story along. Like, that's going to be the thing. Like, how much is the writing going to be part of the plot, and how much is the writing going to be part of the thing? Or part of just filler. Because CW has this issue for a long time. I think they're trying to get over it, but we'll see. But this thing has potential. I just worry about regular CW isms that's going to happen. Old girl and dude gonna walk, gonna run away together again. Like, that seems to be a CW arc with teenagers. So it's just like they always run away somewhere. Oh my god. So I'm waiting for that to happen. But I do like the chemistry of the entire family. that was very that was surprising to see. I figured something would be off a little bit, especially on the first episode. But no, that was very surprising. Everybody seems to have a very good story here. Like, you know what I mean? Like a little backstory. Like, okay, this kid's on pills. He's got to figure out his life. And like Jason said, he's not like over the top, you know, super depressive. He's just a normal person who has to take, you know, some mental health stuff, right? So they're doing a good job with that. They're not like throwing that in your face, which again, CW does that with their characters when they're trying to do diversity and or diverse, you know, regular heteronormal stuff, right? So, you know what I mean? And heteronormal also means whatever you want to call normal mental health stuff, right? So this is pretty good. I'm liking where they're going with this. I actually like that. I like the new suit. It was really awesome. I do like some Superman action. We're like, no, just so you know, it's still a Superman show. So we're going to make sure he, like, totally makes this ice cube out of like, you know, this huge, massive ice cube. Like, he's not, like, pulling his punches, and he's not super, like, I don't know. You know what I mean? How sometimes there's like, oh, this is so heavy. He's like, nah, this ain't heavy. I got this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes they really do that, and I'm glad they didn't do that. I'm just breaking it down. I was, like, very surprised that they didn't do the normal stuff that they normally do. So I'm hoping they keep that up.
Yeah. So when we talked, and I wrote my review, and Jace already mentioned it, when DC went to this rebirth era in their books, they started off Superman, and him and Lois have had a kid. The kid now is maybe 8 or 9, and he's following in his dad's footsteps. And I thought that was such a great dynamic because Superman is a lot of things. He understands the need for privacy, but he's not a liar. And I think the show puts him in a bad position because he is lying to his kids for so long. And not only is he lying, he's made Lois a lie accessory, which is against Superman. And he's more of an optimistic, see the best in people. This is a Last Jedi Luke Skywalker take on Superman. Hold on, hear me out. Where he's going with the worst case scenario instead of being optimistic that, hey, if one of my children doesn't have superpowers, I want to make sure the other kid feels just as important and special. This Superman, for the start of this story, is like, well, he's going to be so much worse off. And I think this is where that was a big problem, where him not telling them when they were younger mattered, because you can train a kid kind of early on, hey, what do we do when somebody's around? We don't fly, Dad. Right, we don't fly. So when they become teenagers, they rebel, but it's rebelling in a different way. These jokers are going to go nuts when they start rebelling. And I don't know. For me, I felt like they were making Jonathan like a potential bad guy for later on. He just had this kind of like, I'm so mad at you, Dad. I'm going to Kylo Ren this thing. Maybe I'm just traumatized from the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, I think because I was actually going. I thought you meant I thought you meant Jordan.
Jordan is the one who has the powers for now.
Yeah. So I thought you were meant like you were saying like Jonathan was going to be the bad guy kind of set up, like he's going to be convinced him eventually. His whole life is ruined because he can't play football, but now this guy's got powers. My dad's been lying, yada yada. Then he goes this Kylo Ren version.
I don't
go that way too. Who knows?
Kids have a valid point about their dad lying to them. Like, I think Superman is this center of moral fabric. He can lie to the world because he needs some measure of privacy. He needs time away from always being on as Superman. That doesn't extend to the household. I mean, that's like Bruce Wayne keeping his secret from Alfred or something. Where it's just like, come on, that's just not logically possible or logistically necessary. Home should be a sanctuary where he can do all this stuff.
Okay, well here's the actual, because of how this actually all came out of Crisis. Like, he didn't have a kid until after Crisis. This is like
We
Oliver
don't know how much time.
But he doesn't know that.
No.
Right?
Remember, like when he went away in Crisis, like
He was a baby.
no. Chef. Like in Crisis, and CW's Crisis, Lois just had one kid, but then when they warped back, then they had twins. So this any screw up almost online is actually Oliver's fault.
Oliver in this timeline, which if you want to act as a catch-all fix for everything,
Right.
is ridiculous because he was like, "Hey, Diggle, here's the son that or here's the daughter that you didn't have because things got messed up on you. I'm fixing that for you." That makes sense.
Yeah, none of that made sense
There's
either.
no reason for him to give him two because
Right.
of crappy writing. Want to go, "Hey, let's give him two."
Let's give him
bad.
two.
I always thought that was
Right.
a bad decision, but that's where we are. And
I don't know,
another
man.
thing, hold on.
Oh.
I'm gonna get to this
Okay.
last part of this with the kids. And another thing, Superman and Lois are established CW characters. We like them. Tyler does a great job making Superman hopeful, optimistic, cheerful, happy-go-lucky, shaking people's hands at Star Labs or the DEO, and just overall really happy and excited to be here. Coming to America, shout out, part 2 coming soon. And I think the route they should have gone that would have been easier is Superman training his young children how to be superheroes, and one of them doesn't have powers. One is lashing out. Like, advancing in the teenagers like they did with Black Lightning cuts out our bonding time with the children. So now it's, yo, you teenagers are annoying. Let's focus on Superman, who we know is cool, and Lois, who didn't get to do much but have to play, I'll deal with the kids. You go do with that. And we saw her making calls, but she's always freaking lame. I mean, she should not be sitting back, hanging loose, and I'll deal with the kids. You deal, it's just.
Okay, I'll give them this because it's like they set up a Lois arc in the pilot where we can deal with her and Morgan Edge and deal like unlike sometimes you're like, what is this person going to be doing for 20 episodes? Like, all right, she's got to deal with the whole foreclosure and what's going on in Smallville, tie it back to, and actually can have whole episodes based on what Lois is doing. And we don't like, all right, can we get to Superman? I'm actually a little more optimistic on that than it seems like you are.
It's because I was watching this on the CW.
There is that, yeah.
Right.
But also, here's the other thing, is because you have teenagers, they basically put a timeline on how long the teenagers can really be around, because it's like they got 4 years. So after that, they're gone. It's like
they'll be in local college, Smallville U. So
Schuster High,
like,
or Schuster
right.
College, Schuster University,
Look,
whatever Superboy was. I forgot that one. Yeah.
We're acknowledging our comic book creator past, and I just feel like we already had that teen dynamic with the father who was a superhero with Black Lightning, and seeing toddlers and showing them how to do stuff would have been different. And even just from the glimpses on WandaVision, it's like, see how easy that is to have little kids dressing up as superheroes and how that's just inherently cute. You're rooting for them. You don't want them to get hurt. And you have Superboy, not super teen, angsty kids. And I just don't like them. So my thing is when it comes to be a deal of them getting on my nerves because they're bucking up against Superman, like, you little snots, get it together. That's Superman. Stop acting up. Lois Lane is the world's greatest reporter. Stop giving her grief. She's got to file this deadline for Perry. Also, hey, it was so cool that Lex Luthor bought off the Daily Planet and started firing people, including Clark Kent. That was cool. And I liked how then he took his vendetta to Smallville and started buying off stuff in Smallville too, because he can't stand Clark Kent because he knows that he's close to Superman. You're shaking your head.
That did not happen. Sorry, we already used that in Supergirl. Sorry.
Supergirl. Oh right, yeah. There's a problem where you cannibalize villains in the second tier character from the main guy, and it's
Yep.
something they Ashley, to its credit, done better with in the second season of Batwoman. Not just going with all of Batman's main villains because it's easier than creating our own.
Right.
This is when it comes to roost because it's like we got to go with Morgan Edge now in Intergame because we've already used Lex as a main villain on Supergirl. I
Yeah.
assume we'll
And
see
Max
him at
Lord.
some point.
Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen
He's
these guys
everyone.
for
But
no reason.
but Morgan Edge was already in Supergirl, so we
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he was Adrian Paz.
Yeah.
So he's still there, and you could
Recap.
usually like next season bring a Lex in there if we go back to. I mean, there's almost no reason Lex would be concerned about Smallville. So you almost, I mean, but we know since Supergirl's ending, somehow Morgan Edge is going to be working for him. It's going to, oh, hey, Morgan Edge was actually my face, even though supposedly Morgan Edge was the one who made me be bad in Supergirl, which, that made no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's weird.
Woo, lots of stuff. But
Lots of things to untangle.
yeah. But that sounded like I hated the show. I didn't. I love the fact that Superman's heat vision actually was red. Whoa, mind blown.
Right. Not blue.
Not blue, and it's hot. But yeah, that was a good thing. I love the Superman suit. He looked perfectly suited to go into a Zack Snyder universe. Did you guys feel like it had the visual style of a Zack Snyder show? It didn't look like a normal CW show.
they filtered more to the Zack Snyder movie universe. They didn't even like, you know how like Flash is kind of like very bright hues. They kind of skewed their filtering like towards a Zack Snyder. Like, hey, we're gonna make this look big budget, and we're not gonna mean this doesn't look like opening episodes of Supergirl. It's like, oh yeah, this is looking good, and then it's like that special effects budget drops off real fast. They're like, no, we actually are going to put some money behind this. Very much like we did in Stargirl. We're going to actually want you to show this is actually something we care about.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was
That's
great.
why they said the creators of Flash. Like, they didn't even, like, even the preview, they were like, nah, we ain't going to talk about the other ones. But from the creators of Flash, Jeff Johns is also consulting here. So it's really, that's why I was like, yeah, they're trying to do something little higher end. I don't know, Jeff. I hear your issues, man, but the only thing I had, and it reminded me of Superman Returns, which you all know I can't stand, was like, hey, you want a drink? I need a drink. Me too. I was like, oh, God, okay. So are they, they're going with the absentee dad drinker Superman. Got it. That was my first thought. I was like, crap. But yeah, it was like, it reminded me of Superman Returns in a couple of ways where I was just like, okay, all right, I can look past this part. But yeah, he like straight lied to his kids. I'm like, I don't know how that worked, but I'm going to go with it for now because at least they're like, not like, oh my God, that's awesome. Great. So when do we get power? You know, they're being overly happy. At least it was real. Like, dude, you lied to us.
That's why
like,
I wanted them to be little kids, because little kids would give you that response. And that would be different than...
I'm happy it didn't do that. Like, these are teenagers. Of course they're going to say that.
Them reacting, oh no, I've got powers. Does this mean I'm going to have powers? What's going to happen to me? And Black Lightning already covered that just fine. So there's no need to go, and especially with the staggered powers, even though they're twins.
I'm just saying the way they did it was fine. At least it was realistic where these teenagers are like, yo, that's messed up. Why'd you lie to us for like 14, 15 years? This is whack. Like, I get that. Like, you know, I get your point. I'm just saying at least it was real and they weren't like happy-go-lucky. That wouldn't be real either.
I thought how they handled everything they did based off their universe they created worked. Yeah. Like their reactions were fine. I understood this version of Superman's apprehension with talking and sharing with them. I just felt like ultimately this is going to shorten the lifespan of the show and it's going to be problematic in the same way that season 2 of Black Lightning was, where it was, okay, we got to focus on Jennifer now getting powers, because first season we kind of we split between Jefferson and Anissa. Now this season we got to focus on Jennifer and her development, her powers.
That
when
was
I just
terrible.
wanted to watch Black Lightning, and I just want to watch.
Yeah. So I understand your Black Lightning apprehension.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because the thing is, especially when you're like from the creators of Flash and all this, it's like, so if y'all bring the same kind of tropes and mistakes to this show,
Always.
I mean, it's like you almost have like, I see where your pitfalls, and unless you guys have noticed where your pitfalls, you're gonna make the same mistakes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
promise you, they're gonna run away.
Yeah, a lot of people are really excited, and I'm like, yeah, I feel like you haven't sat through season 6, 7 of Arrow, like anything of Flash since season 2. Not so much Legends of Tomorrow, it's a totally different thing, but Supergirl every season since season 1, where
every after Christmas.
Thing. We've got to add more heroes. We've got to add them in. I just feel like
here for a year, get rid of them, rinse, repeat. I mean, like, well, you have to also remember, Black Lightning doesn't exist in the Arrowverse as far as they're concerned.
You noted I didn't say Black Lightning.
Like that is 100%, and it is very apparent that they're like, hey, we did not create Black Lightning, so we are taking no credit for any of their success, and we aren't following it. We're going to act like that wasn't a thing, no matter what they do for the crossovers. Especially since in the daggone, they don't even get in a series finale crossover. They're just in Black Lightning.
We just had to blame
and just peace out, y'all. Again, but if anybody hasn't seen, Black Lightning has been very good this season. So
I'm good at Black Neighborhoods. So what you gonna do?
There's one show that I don't know what they're gonna do now, because it seems like literally all roads are leading to a crossover that we know now is not going to happen. Superman and Lois was going to intersect with Batwoman, and early on in Batwoman, she got shot with a kryptonite bullet. And it's been something that she has decided not to pay any attention to, or have her medical doctor roommate look at, to be like, hey, we need to talk to somebody who can help you with this, or hey, let me clean this up. Where's my rubbing alcohol? And now they're not going to do that. So it is like this was the one way that would make sense for Superman and Batwoman to have a crossover. And without it, I'm just kind of wondering what the heck they're going to do. But Jace, you've been watching Batwoman. You have been catching up on this show with me. I know you've been enjoying the journey. Talk about it.
Enjoying the journey. I'm sorry. That sound in my voice is a lot of apprehension. I've watched all 5 episodes this season. This show, my biggest fear was like, hey, they weren't going to move on from Kate Kane, and they haven't. It's the search for Spock, all the worse way. And
that's hilarious.
I mean, it's just like, we're going to follow, like, instead of moving on and coming up with this Ryan character, a backstory, like, hey, you found the Batu. Now go find Kate. Okay. like, hey, am I going to do some extra training to be Batwoman? Nah, just put on the suit and go find Kate. We'll figure it out. Oh, Alice. Hey, Alice, you're like the other half of the show. What are you doing? I'm trying to find Kate too. My gosh, so are we. Let's go find Kate. And it's like, oh, wait, you've had a secret crush in some island that's not Themyscira? Ooh. It's like, I mean, it's just like.
I was afraid of this. I was hoping it only lasted for 3 episodes where, they got to go find an old character and all this crap. I had a feeling that arc was going to be there. This is the whole show?
Yes.
So far.
5 episodes in, it's like, because it's like, okay, maybe there's a winter finale. Hey, wait, we're already in 2021. So there's no winter finale? Nope. Oh, gosh.
What?
So it's very much like, I don't know when the break of this show is going to happen, but they need to wrap up the Kate storyline completely and go on what is making Ryan Wilder Batwoman. Oh, and again, and I don't know if you saw that, and since you're 5 episodes in, I'm not even going to, if you wanted to watch the show, you should have. but I'm probably gonna say this. You probably
Yeah.
should. But like the end of the season finale of last season, you saw Hush was playing Bruce Wayne, and you're like, oh wow, Hush is going to be a thing. By the end of the first episode, Hush has been outed, and there's nothing. It was just, hey, he just took on Bruce Wayne's face. All right, he's out of here. What? Oh yeah, and now he's back alive. It was like, are you kidding? Like, you could have literally used Hush to rebuild your whole stupid show. Like, got rid of the crows, which were a useless device. Like, Batman, Hush takes over Gotham. Nope, we're going to just, let's find King. It's like,
Wow.
it is so, I think I've called Jeff like 2 or 3 times. I'm just like, I don't know how I can do this. And as you can hear in my voice, I don't know if I can do this anymore. It's very much, and I know Jeff joked about it earlier. He's like, binge watching this show doesn't help it.
Nope.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Okay.
It gets worse because you're like, seriously, how much Alice do I care about?
Oh
Because her
this is
sister
not
is
good.
dead. It's supposed to be the whole point. She's dead. She's out of the show. You could have recast, but you chose not to do that. So why are we doing any of this? And the fact it got renewed for a 3rd season, I'm just like, if you think I'm sitting around for a 3rd season of this, you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
So
it has
what's
a
her
lot
what's
of
the
problems.
story arc?
Well, the
Like,
real
what's
problem
her
with
story
this
arc?
is they're trying to focus on Ryan simultaneously while wrapping up Kate's storyline. And it's not like Ruby Rose decided to quit the show 3 weeks before they started the season, and they have to do this crazy scramble to catch up and make sense of her departure. It had a long time, a pandemic, to figure out how to write her out. And instead of just going, yo, she may be dead, or maybe not, in one episode, that's all they needed. They have dragged it out for the first half of this season as a mystery that needs to be solved. And that mystery is not going to get resolved unless Ruby Rose comes back and goes, hey guys, I'm back. Ruby Rose didn't want to stay in the role. They didn't want to recast her like you said, Jace. So there's no point in continuing to mention a character who, for all intents and purposes, is gone. And even if Ruby Rose does come back, why wouldn't she just try to take the cowl back and be like, yo, I'm Batwoman. Give me my outfit that I stole from my cousin anyway. But what are you doing? So yeah, it's so amazing to me that they just won't walk away. They need a clean break and they just refuse. It's like they still have Ruby Rose's poster, her phone number, the text messages she sent them, and they're just like reading them over again like, this is why I was so shipping you and so fell in love with you. When Ruby Rose has moved on, she's doing movies coming later this year. She's not thinking about Batwoman. And these jokers can't stop thinking about her, even though they've got a perfectly qualified, perfectly capable, interesting new character in Ryan Wilder. And Javicia Leslie is doing fine, way better than Ruby Rose ever did as Batwoman. It's like it's like that dude who you see who's still tripping on his ex when his new girl is so much better on every level. It's like, hey, dude, I don't know what you're doing. This is a fork in the road in your life, and you are choosing it incorrectly. And I just feel like they're messing up here.
Yeah, it's like Ruby isn't gonna, like Jeff said, she's not coming back for a cameo when you figure out this mystery. It's over. Like, she's done with y'all. Like, you can't recast the person and say now playing the person who's not going to be around for more than one episode. It's like, oh, she had a facelift and now she doesn't know she's Kate Kane, so now all of y'all are going to go away and get out of the show. Like, no, it's just like, move on. It would have been so much better. Just, she's dead. Like, just we're not recasting. She's dead. Let's go move on. But they just, like Jeff just said it perfect right there.
Thank you. And so the other problem is they knew all these people, and honestly, I feel bad for the cast members who just kind of got left in the lurch when the star of the show decided I'm good on the show anymore. I don't want to do this. because a lot of them had their storylines and subplots revolving around the main character, like every show would. I mean, every show would be dramatically affected if the main star decided to quit. But we had a love interest, a father, a sister-in-law. It's just so many people who are affected in the main villain. And the show is trying to make them all work in this new era. But instead of trying to just go, okay, Kate's gone, let's move on, they're still focusing all of them on Kate, which leaves
Mm-hmm.
basically her adopted sister or stepsister, Mary, as the only character who's really truly embracing Ryan and her new Batwoman. And she's like, hey, buddy, you're my BFF. And it feels like everyone should be doing this. But they're all so focused on what's happened with Kate. It's just like, dude, come on.
And she was Batwoman for a year. Why not go for the daggone search for Bruce Wayne if we really got some? Like, the dude was Batman for years. Like, why are we just, oh, Kate, she's our hero? I mean, did she stop a plague or something that was so traumatic to Gotham that they must have Batwoman? Like, hello, can we find Nightwing or somebody? Tim Drake? Somebody, if you guys need a Bat connection. Oh.
Right.
Yeah, so the show is real suspect right now. I feel like if you wanted to get in on it, the only advice I give you is fast forward through literally everything with Alice. She is a really bad crutch for the writing team. Or she's just terrible. And they're kind of like, oh, what would be fun is they're doing that bad decision they did in Heroes where they decided, let's try to redeem Siler, the serial killer. And now they're trying to do this with Alice by giving her these quote unquote comedy lines, and it's not working. And they need to let Alice go. They need to find another, maybe put her on Legends, because Legends, they can do whatever the heck they want to do with Legends, and it's just like, whatever, this works. Put her on that show so she still has a job, and let her be the villain for a season of Legends where she goes through time just doing crazy stuff. I'll give you that idea for free because she should work. Yes, that's my gift to you. All right, that's my advice on Batwoman. Just go fast forward through everything with Alice, with Jacob, the commander of the Crows, Sophie, because she's literally linked up to both of those characters who are fixated on her, on Kate. And I think then you'd have an entertaining 22-minute episode of Batwoman to
22 minutes? I'm sorry. Out of 5 episodes, you might have 22 minutes of show based on what that really is.
All right, we've trashed the bad parts of Batwoman. Let's talk about some bad people. Film Twitter is great because it always gives me fun topics to talk about with you guys on the show. And I had 2, but we're running late anyway, so I just figured, and my phone is blowing up because 2 of my best friends are watching Married at First Sight, and they are going off on Chris, and I need to catch up drastically because, shockingly, Chris is doing something stupid. If you've been watching the show, you know all he says is stupid stuff. So, yeah. Here you go, guys. Your choice. Dealer's choice for you. What are some of your favorite films where the main character is unlikable or unsympathetic? This was from Ross Miller at Ross Miller on Twitter. Jace, you want to go first?
Oh, okay. I can start this one off. So, my first movie on this is My Best Friend's Wedding. I don't know if you've seen it. She literally is like, hey, I know you're happy, but I'm going to ruin your wedding just because now I finally figured out you were perfect for me. And she does the most, like, hey, ingrains herself, gets herself in the wedding party annoying. I mean, just really, like, I'm going to sabotage this no matter what. Hey, but you're supposed to root for me, and then it's like, not so much, Julia. So that's my first one.
I just have to commend you. That is a fantastic choice.
Thank you. My second one is The Social Network, the movie of Facebook's origin.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't know, I've never, again, we don't know Mr. Mark Zuckerberg personally, but by the end of that movie, you weren't rooting for anybody to win in that. I mean, he screwed over the two twins who gave him the money. He's a jerk. I mean, his guy who's programmed. I mean, he's just like, hey, if you wanted to make Facebook, you should have made Facebook. It's like, wow. I think I made Facebook by giving you the money to make Facebook, but okay. What do I know? So that's my second. My third and final one is going to be Showgirls, because even though you wanted to see Elizabeth Brinkley win as a stripper to be a dancer, by the end of it, you were just like, you are a horrible person. You really should go back to doing something that has nothing to do with human interaction. Like, I mean, she got put in some bad situations, but it's like, yeah, you really horribly worked for this. It's like, it's just, by the end, you're just like, I would like to wash my hands of the viewing experience, and we're good. Thanks. Peace out.
Outstanding choices. Gunner, what do you got, man?
That pool scene, Jace. Oh my God. Anyway, sorry, I'm thinking about Showgirls. Yeah. So I got okay. So I think Jason had the perfect one with My Best Friend's Wedding. Like, that is like irredeemable person, but it's like, well, see what she does. But I do have Something's Gotta Give. Jack Nicholson's character by the name of Melvin. Irredeemable, somehow redeemed himself, but probably not. We never really saw the conclusion of that whole thing in their relationship. They probably broke up. Miles, Paul Giamatti's Miles from Sideways. We're supposed to be somewhat sympathetic to him, but he creates his own demons. He drinks himself to death. He's not over his wife, and he's just, he stole from his mom. Like, it was just like, what is going on? Then you think he's like the moral center with his boy who, is cheating on his girl the whole time. Then he goes and tries to steal the wallet, gets the wallet back. Like, he still helps him. He breaks into somebody's house, steals the wallet back, all for good intentions, supposedly. Then he dips out on the reception, where he's supposed to make his best man speech and all that kind of crap. He just dips out, goes to a restaurant, drinks some expensive bottles of wine. So, I don't know. We're supposed to feel sorry for him. I don't. I still watch the movie over and over again to see how crappy it is. I am split between a real-life character that was in the movie, that is a movie made out of, versus a made-up character. So it's kind of a tie here for this 3 spot for Steve Jobs and Jobs, or Steve Jobs, whichever movie you like the most. I like both of them. Ashton Kutcher looked the hell like dude back then. I don't know why Magneto was Steve Jobs. He looked good as old Steve Jobs, but that's it. But anyways, either way, I don't know which one played him better or worse, whichever way you want to look at it, because they both were kind of horrible people. But I will give Michael Fassbender that one. Actually, scratch that, because I love the fact that he's like, he argued the hell out of it with Pepsi Generation. I think his that meeting where he got kicked out storyline that has to be in a Steve Jobs storyline, I think his was better. Ashton Kutcher played like this nervous, like, I'm angry and I'm holding it back. Nah, from what I read, he was more like Michael Fassbender's Steve Jobs, where he's just like, this is my fucking company. What are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? Not like, you know what I mean? Not like, hey, I shouldn't be beholden to the shareholder. No, I shouldn't be beholden to the shareholder, so I'm going to fight. No. The arrogance of Steve Jobs was, this is my fucking company. I made it. There's no way this is going to happen to me. It was more like that, and I kind of like that one. So either way, Steve Jobs, either movie. And then I'm also tied with, like, Kill Bill. Bill from Kill Bill. How can you not like Bill? You knew he was the bad guy. I love David Carradine's Bill. Like, that was perfect. That was a perfect move, perfect villain for a Quentin Tarantino movie. He had a reason for being such a dick, like, right? But that's who he was, and he was kind of trained assassins. So there you go. That's my list.
Okay, good list. I'm gonna start off with the unconventional one. That's gonna be a super spoiler that I will not reveal. So I'm gonna say it, and if you know what I'm talking about, you'll get it. My first one is Us.
Nice.
But you won't understand until the end, and it is like, yeah. So, and I'm still mad that Lupita Nyong'o did not get nearly enough award recognition for her performance in that movie because it was great. Another one is Looper. It's funny to have the same kind of thing going with two movies.
Exactly. Here. I see your theme here.
And we're totally going against after that, but yeah, because you know when you're watching, it's like, well, dude, he ain't that great, but yeah. So those two kind of follow along the same thing. So let me just break down my other ones that I'm trying to narrow down. You guys can help me decide which one I should choose.
All right.
Put the Wolf of Wall Street, because I hated that dude. I mean, like, hated watching him, but Leonardo DiCaprio's performance was so freaking good in that movie. And I was like, I hate this movie, I hate the guy, but wow, this is what he should win a Best Oscar for. So when people complain about, oh, Denzel didn't get this award until he played a drug dealer, crooked cop, it's like, listen, they don't get it right. And it's not, you don't have to look very far to find it where they don't pick the best performance.
Al Pacino.
This is where he should. Yeah. Speaking
of,
of course I have Al Pacino in two roles. One is Scarface, because he is not a redeemable character. He's pretty crap. He kills his best friend because he's jealous that he would dare look at his sister. He stays coked out. I mean, he doesn't even open the door to let Manny in the house when everybody's coming through. I mean, he's a crappy dude. So he's always got to be on there. Then I got Sweeney Todd, because the dude is literally slicing necks like he's part of the Wu-Tang Clan. And my final choice, which I kind of feel like you have to go with, so maybe you guys can convince me otherwise, is my boy Al Pacino as Michael Corleone in The Godfather Part 2. He kills his brother. And, you know, that is like the shadiest, terrible thing you do in a movie. Like, there's few guys in movies that do something worse than that. He's like, Fredo, I knew it was you, and I'm not going to do it. And he's so calculated, because he's like, yo, of course, you're my brother. Till mama dies. And I'm like, get you.
Nah, Scarface. Scarface, here's why. He got his sister killed his best friend. Literally, got his sister killed his best friend, his little sister, killed his best friend, came back into their life. He was already a jailbird, came back in their life. Mama said, leave her alone, leave everybody alone. Still didn't listen. Everybody dead but mama. Everybody dead but mama. His mentor killed him, even though he was trying to betray him, but nevertheless, why was he trying to betray him? Come on, man. So, man. I mean, he was trying to be loyal to his piece, but, you know, a quaalude makes him disloyal. Told Michelle Pfeiffer she can't have no kids. Her ass. Oh yeah, she survived too. She went back to Baltimore. So
yeah, that was a low key just gut punch move too. You're right.
Yeah.
That was a low key slime ball move that really
in public. You know what I mean?
In a restaurant, no less.
Right. Fredo literally tried to have Michael Corleone's whole family killed. I don't care if we're related or not. You're done. You've been done since then. As soon as I found that out, you were done. As soon as I came back from Cuba, I was like, dude, I'm about to kill this cat on the plane. Like, you know what I mean? I don't care about this Cuban revolution. I'm about to kill you on this plane. Come on, Fredo. You don't have to be afraid. My name is Fredo. Of course I'm afraid. I just tried to have you killed. You just found out. I am running away.
Jeff, I'm gonna have to go Gunner on this. His argument's better. I mean, it's
At
just.
least he-
You kind of feel like he made a stronger argument.
It just makes
At least he waited till his mama was. At least he waited till their mama was dead before he was like, "Yo, all right, now I'm gonna take this Bama out. I'm gonna respect our mama."
No matter what. Yeah.
That respect is Scarface. The respect and restraint that Michael Corleone, cold-blooded restraint that Michael Corleone showed, means Scarface takes this one. That was excellent logic. Real quick, fellas, you got any nominees for Dummies of the Week?
I'm tapped out. No dummies this week for me.
Okay.
Anybody that's still doing glue challenges, but I think this probably died out, I hope.
Okay, my dummy of the week is people who thought that Tom Holland was serious when he said the title of the new Spider-Man film was actually going to be Phone Home.
I did not know that was who he was trolling him. That's great.
Yeah, it's actually No Way Home, but I mean, come on. Yeah, so, I mean, I got to see a post that's written, hey, Tom Holland reveals Phone Home. It's like, come on. That's just bad. Yeah. So, anyway, that's it. Fellas, thank you, as always. Gunner, find yourself a DVR. Start watching Married at First Sight this season because it's a train wreck of one dude who's trying to sabotage the entire season and making everything look bad. Jace, real fast, who is our boy Matt James going to pick to be his final three or final two?
Okay, got Rachel and Bree.
I'm going to go with Bree and Michelle because they got to get Rachel out so she could be the Bachelorette until her pass came out.
Again, I'm searching my crystal balls. I'm looking through the previews, trying to glimpse it. I think I got the answers. Whoa.
Matt is sitting on the sides. He is bawling on the sidewalk. He would only do that for Rachel, the only woman he's ever told he loved.
Well, I mean the fact that the guy's literally is like I keep laughing. It's like every girl's like, I think I'm falling in love with you, and he's like, you keep that same energy. Because you're going home.
It really is. It's terrible. Anyway, go ahead and please watch either of those two shows so we can talk about it soon. All right. Thank you, fellas. Thank y'all out there for listening. This episode of Loud Movie Files has been filed.